Prince. Tony is up on top of the night house. You can kind of see his ears sticking out. And then Prince is in this back corner over here by the vending machine in the shade. Tony and Prince are brothers. These two bobcats were found out in the wild here in Arkansas by a man. He decided he wanted to try and take them home, make them pets. Realized pretty quickly they don't make great pets. Were you seeing that spider over there? Yeah, that's massive. It's on the other side of this pavilion right here.
Yeah, as long as it stays away.
Yeah. Anyway, realized they didn't make great pets, so he kept them in small dog crates in his basement, feeding them soft cat food. Not a proper diet, not enough space either. In 2019, the Arkansas River flooded to historic levels. He abandoned his home, leaving those bobcats in the basement for the floodwaters to take. Luckily, the neighbor knew about them. Yep, so they couldn't go anywhere.
They couldn't even
Yeah. Luckily, though, the neighbor did know about them, so she went in there and rescued them. She was just barely in time. The water was all the way up to their chest and still rising by the time she got there. So if she had been any later, we wouldn't have Tony and Prince there today. We're really, really weird because she was aware of that. Now, you can tell their size by looking at them. They're some of the smaller cats that we have here at Turpentine Creek, and a lot of people believe they learn pets from some of the other
The ones that like bite your neck and drag you up a tree.
aggressive animals that we have here.
Oh, so
30 miles an hour, just 10 to 12 feet in the air, they can take down anything on their own. Unlike the smaller deer, so deer my size are smaller, but they have been known to take down larger bucks as well. So they can take down any one of us on the pavilion here, absolutely no problem. So the thing that we have here is predators, not pets, just as true for the small guys as it is for the big ones. One more we'll talk about before hopping onto the tram is back behind me this way. Her name is Mondo. She's an African serval. She has access to walk up and over that bridge into her building anytime she would like. Part of us being a true sanctuary means we never force the animals to do anything they don't want to do. They are always welcome to get out of the view of the public, out of the weather, anything like that, whenever they would like. So we might not see her today, but there are a couple more servals a little bit later on the tour loop that we'll get to spot hopefully, and there are a couple down the bear tunnel as well. Mondo was found wandering around Aiden, Missouri for about 5 to 6 months. A farmer had seen her on his property, realized she didn't look like a typical house cat. He likes cats, and we got to pick it up. Being an African animal, she is not supposed to be in Missouri. She's also built for the heat and not for the cold, and that winter temperatures had dropped down to negative 17 degrees. So she had infection in her paw, frostbite on her tail, was very, very malnourished. Sent her down to our vet hospital where she spent several months recovering before she was good enough to end up this way, and she's doing really good.
Hi.
Hello.
Everybody's sleepy. Got here too late. And now almost 11 o'clock. Past 11 o'clock.
Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and start moving forward here on this tour loop. I'm going to go through our lodging options just in case you're unfamiliar with those and would like to stay with us overnight in the future. We have our glamping tents to the left of us, those green tents right there. They share a fire pit between the two. There's also a little fish pond out front. Off in the distance are our African Zulu lodges. Those are adult only, so 18 and up. They share a hot tub and a fire pit. We have several RV camping spots if that's more your thing. Back behind this building is our tree house, and then we've got our most popular options right here to the left of us, Bengal and Siberian suites. Really great family-friendly and pet-friendly option too. Now to the right is Jake's habitat. Jake is an African serval like Mondo. He's a little bit shy though, likes to come out closer to dinner time most of the time, but there is a picture of a serval on that board right there so you can see what they look like. That's what we'll be looking out for in a couple habitats for now. Jake came here from Oklahoma. A man had 300 animals of 81 different species on his property, all living in really poor health conditions. So Jake was sent to another facility until the court order was finalized, and then he came here to us. He's the only one we received from that facility just because he was the only exotic cat there, and we do have the resources for those exotic servals. But since he's not out, we'll scoot forward. We'll talk about Joey's habitat here. Hopefully we get to see her, but she's got a whole habitat to roam around. She's a female orange tiger. She came here from Colorado. She was actually originally in our discovery area with Lakota and Aurora when she first arrived. Sometimes these cats decide they don't like each other anymore, so they start getting into fights. You have to separate them to keep them nice and safe. She's really enjoying having this habitat to herself. She's got the nice sunny front half, the shaded back half, and around the corner behind this building is where her pool is. So she can be wherever she'd like, but she is that typical coloration of a tiger that you think of, dark orange with black stripes, so kind of being toned the tiger on Frosted Flakes. That's the only coloration of a tiger you're going to find out in the wild today, and it does serve a purpose. It helps them to camouflage. Their prey is typically red-green colorblind, which means when their prey, like deer, looks at them, like orange appears a little bit more green to them, and green tigers blend in really well to green vegetation. The black stripes on their bodies also help break up the look of their body size a little bit so they can blend in even further into the tall bamboo and grasses. So dark orange with black stripes, the coloration that Joey is, only one you're going to find on a tiger naturally out in the wild, and it is vital to their survival. Now switching to the other side of us, underneath the bench right here, you'll see Lila. She likes to take her naps underneath her bench in the shade right there. Lila is a female lion. She came here from Tiger King Park in Oklahoma in 2021. Now being a lion, she likes to carol. Caroling is a way that lions communicate with each other. It's a roar that they do over and over again. Sounds a little bit funky, but it can be heard up to about 5 miles away when they put their whole bodies into it. So it does get pretty loud. Sometimes it's just one that's caroling. Other times they all like to join in which case you get what we call a symphony of caroling throughout the sanctuary. So you can hear them from all the different areas we have here throughout the refuge, starting one right after another, which is pretty awesome. Our best guesses for what they're talking about are normally changes in the weather or talking about their food. They do tend to get pretty chatty in the evening after they finish their dinner, so we are fairly confident about that one. Now, if you look ahead, you'll notice that she's got 2 night houses to her 1 grassy area. This is because of a rescue in Quitman, Arkansas. A man had 60 big cats. 4 of his lions escaped, and unfortunately those lions did lose their lives. And then he gave us a call asking how he could euthanize the remaining 56 of them. He obviously didn't want that to happen. So we built 2 night houses per grassy area and several other habitats, allowing us to rescue twice as many animals. With this, we can do what we call alternate access. So 2 animals will share a habitat together. They'll each have their own night house. One will be in the night house one day while the other has access out into the grassy area, and they'll be able to flip-flop that access every other day. We do this because we never introduced big cats to each other who didn't live together at their previous facilities. They can be very territorial, get into lots of fights. Like I said before, we want to make sure we're keeping them safe. So we do that alternate access instead. Obviously, though, it's not entirely ideal in the long term, so when a spot opens up to give a cat their own grassy area, we'll definitely move them around to make that happen for them. Now the next habitat coming up is home to 4 African servals, Sammy, Endo, Giselle, and Lexi. So we're going to keep an eye out, see if we can spot any of those guys today. Servals are really great hunters. They have about a 50% hunting success rate. Might not sound like a lot, but tigers and lions are only about 20 to 30% successful at most. So 50% is actually really great. There is 1 serval underneath the big log propped up on that rock formation. You kind of see the ears sticking up right there. One of the reasons that these servals are such great hunters is because they have the largest ears compared to their body size of any of the other cats. If we had the same proportions as these servals, our ears would be the size of dinner plates, so they can triangulate their prey very well. They also have really long legs and can jump 10 or more feet into the air to catch a bird mid-flight. So you'll notice that they have a roof to their habitat here. Any of the animals that can climb, jump, or leap out of their habitat, they will have a roof for their safety as well as our safety. We'll see if there are any others that are out. Now, not only are these servals really great hunters and really aggressive cats, they're also super stinky animals. They spray or mark their territory anywhere from 20 to 40 times per hour. So that's them spraying their pee around that often every single hour. All but around 2 of our servals were rescued from people's homes and apartments, sometimes 3 or more to an apartment. They don't contain that spraying to a litter box. They will spray anywhere and everywhere. So I promise you guys you would not want a serval as a pet, if only because of how aggressive and stinky they are. They do not make good pets. They do not belong in a home. They are still very much wild predators. Kisman's habitat is up next. Kisman is a white tiger. She came here from Colorado with her sister Tanya. They just don't get along anymore, so they are in separate habitats. Tanya's up at the start of the baritone life. You haven't been able to see her yet. If she's out and moving around, you'll probably hear her before you see her as well. She's very, very chatty, likes to moan and groan a lot. But you'll look through Kisman's habitat here, see that she has lots of toys, balls, barrels, tubes, tops. You might notice cardboard tubes and cardboard boxes as well. This is all enrichment for the animals. We like to do what we can to keep them from being bored here in their forever homes want to do what we can to, keep their minds and bodies stimulated. So we give them lots of toys to play around with, lots of cardboard to shred up. We will also sprinkle kitchen spices around their habitat, spray perfume on their things so they can check out new smells, which they really love to do. We have found that they've got some pretty expensive taste when it comes to that perfume. Their favorite seems to be Obsession by Calvin Klein. They go crazy for that one when we spray it around, so we really appreciate when that gets donated because they do love it. We'll also do seasonal enrichment for them, like pumpkins in the fall time, live Christmas trees in the winter time. They can play around with those in their habitat, just drag them around, do whatever they like. And in the summertime, we do like to make them popsicles, so blood pops and meatsicles. They've been getting a lot of them since it's been so hot recently, but not the kind of popsicles we would want, definitely. But they really, really love them. Helps cool them off on those hot days. Kismet's neighbor is Khaleesi. Khaleesi is another tiger from Colorado. She's a little bit of a different coloration than Joey, who we talked about before. I remember I said Joey's dark orange with black stripes, whereas Khaleesi, she looks a little bit more like a perfectly toasted marshmallow. She has a more golden color to her orange, has brown stripes instead of black, and has a lot more white on her body. She's what's called a golden tabby tiger or strawberry tabby tiger. You're not going to find those tigers naturally out in the wild. They get their coloration from a genetic mutation that is brought out through inbreeding. It's just the way that people have tried to profit off of these animals. There's only around 35 or so known golden tabby tigers in the world today, and almost all of them live in captivity. So we do have a few here that we've rescued. We've got Khaleesi, and then we've got Tigger a little bit later on. Since Khaleesi is not visible for us, hopefully we see Tigger so you can see that coloration I was talking about. I will say really quick though, Khaleesi's pretty funny when it comes to her pool. That stock tank pool that she has up that way, likes to go in there to cool off, but she typically does not like to get her front paws wet. So she usually has her paws propped up right on the rim of it. When we drive past her when she's in her pool, she actually will back into the pool, back legs first, so she keep nice and dry the entire time. So she's figured out what works for her. Now we got a cat out in this next habitat. She's right here up on her bench. This is Savannah. Savannah is a female lion. She came here from Indiana. A man with ties to the Tiger King had 120 violations against him regarding the care of his animals. So we were able to bring 4 lions and 4 tigers back here to Turpentine Creek. We call them the Indiana 8, and Savannah was one of those. Now for the animals that arrive here, it can take them some time to adjust to their new homes. For a lot of them, it's their first time seeing and touching grass. You can imagine new things do take some time getting used to. It can take them anywhere from a couple of days to adjust all the way up to a couple of years. It just depends on the animal, how quickly they adjust in general, and what they've experienced in the past. For whatever reason, it only took Savannah a couple of weeks to adjust, so a lot quicker than some of our other animals, but she really does love her habitat here. If you look at the bottom of her fence line, there are several toys at the bottom, 1 blue one and 3 red ones. That's a great indication that she's been pushing them down the hill, chasing after them, playing around with those toys. More than her toys, though, she loves sticks, so we put lots of sticks in her habitat too. We'll put them in little teepees. She can, push them around, pick whichever one she wants, and she likes to run around with them in her mouth, kind of chewing on them a little bit like a dog, even though she's definitely not a pet. But it is a pretty great toy to have as her favorite, if you ask me. There is no chance we're running out of sticks anytime soon out here. We've got 450 acres of her favorite toy just waiting for her. Now coming up here to the left, in just a second we'll be able to look down the hill, see some fencing out that way. That's our newest area of habitats that we have called Freedom Field. Freedom Field was completed being built earlier last year when a reputable facility in Florida closed their doors. They wanted to focus more on conservation rather than rescuing. So they rehomed about 33 cats to us, so all ended up down that way. Lots of smaller guys, bobcats, servals, caracals, Savannah cats, but we do have several other big cats down there as well. It's one of the areas you can check out with our specialty tour, so the Carnivore Caravan or Coffee with the Curator tour. Those take you around to every area here at the Refuge, not just this general tour loop, and it takes you around in a nice new private van, which is air conditioned in the summer and heated in the winter, so it is very nice. If you're interested in finding out more information about those tours for your next visit, we've got some QR code stickers on the backs of the benches here or on the sides of the poles that you can scan if you'd like. Now, here to the right of us, underneath her bench, this is her favorite spot in her entire habitat. It's Mama Shakira. Mama is what we call a pure white tiger. What that means is from a distance it looks like she's all white and doesn't have any stripes, but with her as close as she is to us right now, you can see she does have those stripes. They're just very, very faint on her body. She is one of those sad stories that I warned you about. She was rescued from that facility in Colorado. Before that, she was used in magic shows and was declawed, so she has very flat feet, walks with a pretty severe limp. At this Colorado facility, there she goes yawning. At this Colorado facility, she was used in a speed breeding program. So this means she would get pregnant. 3 months later, she'd give birth. Those cubs would be taken away from her immediately, causing her body to think that they passed away so she could go back into heat and reproduce another litter. By the time she would have had just 1 litter naturally in the wild, she had 4 that we know of. That is an entire lifetime of litter she was forced to have in the time that she would have only had 1 naturally, in span of less than 2 years. Now, the cubs that are born into these breeding programs, they're taken from their moms and they're put into cub petting programs and pay-to-play programs. People will spend money to pet these cubs, pass them around, take pictures with them, play with them, and sometimes even swim with them. Most of the time, if not all of the time, these cubs are not getting that nutrition that they need. They're being fed watered-down formula so they don't grow as quickly. They can stay smaller for longer, make people money for longer. Because of this malnutrition, they develop what's called metabolic bone disease, which is a disease that causes their bones to crack and break very easily. Their bones become incredibly fragile. So when these cubs are being passed around 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they have that metabolic bone disease, their bones would be breaking in the process. And they'd still continue to be passed around to make money off of, even with those broken bones, without ever receiving any treatment for it. Now, we call her Mama rather than her actual name, which is Shakira, because we rescued a lot of those litters, or all of those litters, alongside her. We still have 3 of those litters here. Aurora and the Discovery year that I mentioned is her oldest. Tanya and Kismet are her youngest, and we've also got Rockland, Blackfire, and Peyton of hers as well. Those triplets of hers live in a habitat down the bear tunnel together. Normally they're just napping near each other. But those triplets of hers arrived with such advanced metabolic bone disease they couldn't even walk when they arrived. They had so many breaks in their bones, they were just crawling around trying to get around as best as they could. So we gave them what we call a cure, lots of calcium, supplements, gave them that treatment that they needed. They can walk, run, play, do all sorts of tiger things now, so they're doing a lot better. But you'll notice if they are up and moving around, they have a limp. They're going to have that limp for the rest of their lives, as well as being on pain medication twice a day for the rest of their lives. So the reality of the cub petting industry, it is a pretty sad one. Might not have been one that you guys were fully aware of beforehand. There's so much that goes into it. But there is some good news regarding that industry, at least in this country, because the Big Cat Public Safety Act was passed at the end of 2022, making it federally illegal for cub petting, as well as private ownership and breeding of these big cats. Previously, it was a state-by-state basis, sometimes even county-by-county in certain states, but now it's illegal in all 50 states, which is super awesome. It was about a 10-year battle getting that act finally passed into law, so you can imagine how excited we were when it finally did happen, since we've been advocating for that change for quite a while now. But we're hopeful it's being enforced so other cats aren't going to need to go through what Mama and her cubs went through. We actually have seen some success with it being enforced already, even with several of the animals that have arrived here at Turpentine Creek. So that is Mama's story. The cubs that came with her, really rough start for them, especially Mama here. She is incredibly traumatized from her past, but since she arrived here in 2016, she has made leaps and bounds of progress. She is just such a special cat, and I'm glad you guys got to see her. Now, if you look real quick through the spacing in the trees here, all the way out there at the base of the hill, some fencing. You might see it, you might not. That's Rescue Ridge, another area of habitats that we have here. Rescue Ridge was built in 2012 when a tiger breeder in Mount Bird, Arkansas retired. He needed to rescue those animals from her facility. So we built 20 habitats in 128 days with the help of donors, interns, and volunteers. Got those done as quickly as we could so we could get those animals here and safe. Now we tend to put one of our senior cats down there since it's on much flatter land. It's a lot easier on their bodies and joints. We'll also put our more anxious cats down there. If they don't like seeing the tram or having the tram go by them on a regular basis, they don't need to be around it. They'll go where it's more secluded. There's some super awesome bear habitats down there, and another favorite of our guests that take those specialty tours is Rambo. He's our spotted hyena. So if you're interested in seeing the pictures of any of the animals here in those extra habitat areas and hearing about their stories, we have a purple binder in the back of the gift shop. You guys can definitely flip through that if you would like. Now there are 2 cats that live in this habitat right here, Glacier and Ngala. Ngala is this female lion right here on this blue bench right by her blue barrel. Not really sure where Glacier is at the moment, but he is a male white tiger. Now a tiger and a lion are a little bit of an odd pair to have in a habitat together. These 2 were rescued from that facility in Indiana where they were being used to try to breed for big cat hybrids. So they were trying to get these guys to make what are called tigons. Big cat hybrids do not happen naturally out in the wild. They are a man-made creation for entertainment and money. Tigers and lions are very different cats. They also live in entirely different parts of the world. They would never meet each other to make these hybrids. Tigers are from Asia. They're very solitary, so they like to be alone. They love the cold and they love the water. Whereas lions are from Africa. They're very social. They hate the cold and they hate the water. So they're kind of polar opposites if you think about it. Now, I will say there's one exception of their ranges overlapping. There's a very small population of Asiatic lions in the Gir National Park in India, but it's been proven that even those lions do not interact with the tigers around them. If they did, they'd be fighting over territory and resources. Mating would be the last thing on their mind. So at least one more time today, I'll say it. You do not get big cat hybrids naturally. But these two, they've been together for most of their lives, so they get to stay together here. We just made sure to neuter Glacier before they were reunited. But since they've been together for so long, they've kind of started to pick up a couple traits of the opposite species, which has been interesting to see, especially Ungala right here. She acts a little bit more like a tiger in the sense that she's more solitary. She has her social moments when it comes to caroling with the lions, but she tends to really like her space. Glacier, on the other hand, he really likes to get in her space, and if she's not in the mood for that, she'll just smack him in the face. He'll get the idea pretty quickly, give her that space that she wants. She also really likes the cold. Normally it's when it's snowing, all of our African animals are hiding away in their heated dens or heated buildings, but she'll be out here playing around in the snow, chasing the snowflakes around. Every once in a while, if you're lucky, you'll also catch her trying to sled down the hill on her stomach or on her back, which is really fun. She does stay very true to her lion roots, though, when it comes to her hatred of water. Glacier gets a pool up at the top of his hill. He can cool off in there whenever he'd like. When he's in there playing around, and that was as far away as she can get. She does not want a chance getting splashed by any of that water. And she's always in a very grumpy mood if Glacier decides to get out of that pool and walk over to her while he's soaking wet and dripping everywhere. So they're pretty funny together. She also has a really nasty habit of stealing his napping spots, which I just think is the funniest thing in the world. At any point, she might decide she'd rather lie down where Glacier is instead, so she'll get up, walk over to him, even if it's just a foot away. She'll stare down at him first, she gives him a minute, but if he's not getting the idea, she starts pawing at him. He gets up, he moves out of the way, she plops down right where he was, and he's got to find somewhere else to finish his nap. So even though they have this entire habitat to choose from, what Ungala wants, Ungala gets. Glacier knows the drill. He's just here to make her happy. So we call them our odd couple here at Turpentine Creek sometimes, but they are really fun to watch and interact with each other. Now to the other side of us, down the hill, you'll see a building out there. That's our veterinary hospital. Completed about 3 weeks before our Colorado rescue in 2016. Before having it here, we would have to transport our animals about an hour away for any medical care. Now we can just take them right down the hill, much more useful to us. We have a fully functioning operating room down there, as well as 3 recovery rooms, and we do have a vet on staff full time. The next step to the left leads down to commissary, which is where we prep all of the food for our animals. We like to give a shout out to Tyson. They donate about 300,000 pounds of meat to us each year, which is incredibly helpful because we go through around 700 pounds a day feeding these guys, and that would just be incredibly expensive. We have to do that all on our own. I see you guys looking at Athena right here. Athena shares this habitat with Chuck. So feel free to look at her. I am going to start by talking about Tigger. He's all the way down in his left side night house. He's a golden tabby like Khaleesi, so you can kind of see that coloration that I mentioned before. Tigger came here from Oklahoma. A man had Tigger and 5 other big cats in his possession. We were under the impression originally that he had rescued these animals from another facility, was trying to give them a better life. Turns out that man really just had ties to the Tiger King and had been lying to the U.S. Department of Agriculture the whole time. So either way, we're grateful that he ended up, here with us, but that is how he got here. Now, he's a little bit interesting, likes to carol with the lions, even though he's a tiger. He's getting comfy down there. Tigers can mimic, speaking of mimicking, tigers can mimic several different sounds. Sometimes they'll mimic the sound of their prey out in the wild, like deer, draw them in, have an easier time hunting them. They can kind of ambush them a little bit easier. In captivity, though, they don't have prey. They are quite literally fed on silver platters, so they mimic the lions, their neighbors. Sometimes they'll just, sometimes they'll start the mimicking, other times they'll just join in. They do their best, but that's kind of what it sounds like when they're trying to mimic that carol. Tigger's actually really bad at it, though. It sounds more like he's saying ow over and over again. Ow. That's more what it sounds like with him. But this one's Athena. This guy over here is Chuff. They are siblings, and they share this habitat together. They actually came here with their other sister, Abigail. She just really doesn't like her siblings anymore, so she gets her own habitat down at Rescue Ridge, where she's a lot happier. All 3 of them, though, were rescued from a facility in Branson, Missouri. This facility allowed a 16-year-old volunteer to enter the habitat while all 3 tigers were in there. Common practice in this facility, they did not take safety seriously whatsoever. This 16-year-old unfortunately tripped and fell while he was in that habitat, and these tigers acted on their natural instincts. They attacked him, grabbed him by the neck. Somehow, he survived, but he did end up paralyzed because of it. So even to this day, he still can't move certain parts of his body. After the fact, though, after everything he went through in that habitat with these tigers, he advocated for their lives. He understood they were not at fault, they were just being the wild predators that they were meant to be. The facility should have never allowed anyone to enter the habitat while the tigers were in there. Oh, absolutely. Now, if he had not advocated for their lives, it is very likely they would have lost them. They probably would have been put down for what happened. But they were actually just under 3 years old, and they are now 18 and still going strong. So we're really, really grateful to have them here and for that young boy's advocacy. Now, you can kind of tell tigers apart by looking at their stripes. No 2 tigers have the same stripes. They're unique to each tiger, kind of like our fingerprints are unique to us.
but I know this one is Chuff. One, because it looks like Chuff, but he also has much darker, thicker stripes than his sister does, so that's one easy way to tell them apart. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is true for those guys as well, yeah. And the whisker pattern that they have is also unique to them too, but you have to be really expert to like memorize whisker patterns. It's a lot easier to find unique stripes that stick out a little bit more. Now this lady right here to the left of us on her bench is Karma. Karma is a liger, so half lion, half tiger. She's one of those big cat hybrids. She looks like a female lion at first glance, similar to Savannah and Lila, who we saw before, but she's got stripes all over her like a tiger, so traits of both species that are pretty obvious on her. She came here from a drive-through safari park in Missouri. This safari park was facing stricter regulations regarding their fence height. Their fences were only about 6 feet tall. Now for reference, the fence on either side of us, this darker fence, that's about 8 feet tall, so imagine it 2 feet shorter. That 6-foot fence was their only fence. When these cats stand on their back legs and put their paws up, they reach over 6 feet. So you can imagine how unsafe we'd feel on this open air tram if all we had was that one 6-foot fence. They didn't want to increase their fence height, so they were forced to give up their big cats, and that is how we ended up with Karma. Now she does have a little pumpkin down on her stump. We like to give these cats pumpkins, like I said, when they get donated to us. Pumpkins come with a lot of seeds inside of them. So if you look down at her night house area, you'll see she's kind of growing her own enrichment right now. She's got lots of squash vines growing up on her night house. She's our gardener that we have here. Oh yeah, she has been loving that spot recently. Now this habitat to the right of us is home to Fred. Looks like Fred also got a pumpkin that he crushed up just a little bit by his blue barrel. Fred is an orange tiger. He's a bit smaller than our other male tigers that we saw today, like Chuff, who we just saw, or Tigger, who was down at his night house, because he turns 3 in November. So it's coming up here pretty soon. He turned 2 back on Thanksgiving last year, actually, so he got a big turkey for his birthday. But he came here from Arkansas. There were 2 men here in Arkansas that acquired Fred as just a little cub. They decided they wanted to try and sell him for $10,000. So to do that, they posted a picture of him on Instagram, on social media. Not their brightest idea. Those men were then arrested, and Fred came here to us. Fred was actually originally in our witness protection program when he first arrived. We couldn't share his story. All we could say was his new name and a few personality traits about him. We didn't want to say anything to jeopardize the court case that was still ongoing, especially since it was happening here in this state. Everything's been wrapped up though. We're able to share his story now, but I will remind you guys it's federally illegal to own these big cats, and it was at the time that these men acquired Fred, which is why they were arrested. But it's actually been illegal in the state of Arkansas since 2005 because of a tiger named India. So for about 20 years now, it's been illegal to own these big cats in the state. A man had India. She was about 2 years old when he decided he didn't want her anymore, so he loaded her up in the back of his pickup truck, drove 60 miles away to the Buffalo River, dropped her off. That's an actual lion, Carolee. So now you know what they both sound like. Back to India, though. I love it when they interrupt me, but it always makes me lose my train of thought. He dropped her off at the Buffalo River. Just left a tiger out there in a recreation area and didn't tell anyone about it. Not a great idea, you guys, especially in a place where tigers are not native, so people are not going to be keeping an eye out for one. Could have gone really, really poorly. Less than 4 days later, though, he opened his front door and Indy was on the porch waiting for him. Just made her way back there. 60 miles back to his home. It's where her food came from. It's all she knew, so she made her way back, and she did it without ever being spotted, which I think is pretty impressive. But he realized dropping her off in the middle of nowhere didn't really work out too well, so he loaded her back up in that pickup truck, drove her here to us, and she spent the rest of her life here at Turpentine Creek. We were able to take her story to the lawmakers in Arkansas, using it to inspire that change of law in 2005. So either way, these men would have been breaking the law by having Fred here, whether it was on a state level or a federal level. They just decided to wait a couple months, go big or go home. But we're happy to have him here. He was just a little cub when he got here. He's so much bigger now. He was actually wearing a dog harness when he got here that was way too small for him. We had to cut it off of him. But he's super happy now. He loves his pool, so that's why we don't see him too often. Loves to just kind of hang out in his pool, splash around in there, and, you know, drag all of his toys in there too. Oh, I kind of see him right now, actually. Coming down the hill just a little bit. He's behind all of those logs there. So there he is for us, you guys. A little bit, yeah. We can creep forward here as we move forward, though, see if you can get a better look at him. He's probably coming down to take a bathroom break. Now, to the left of us right here is Donner. He's in that back half of the night house at the moment, another white tiger from Colorado. Being a white tiger, you're not going to find him out in the wild. We used to find white tigers out in the wild on very rare occasions. They get their coloration, that white fur, from a recessive gene, or a rare trait. That recessive gene only has about a 1 in 10,000 chance of presenting itself naturally. So 1 in 10,000 tigers would naturally be born white. Now, you're not going to find him out in the wild anymore because you can trace all of these guys back to the last known white tiger found in the wild. His name was Mohan. Mohan was captured in the 1950s. He was then bred back to his offspring to be able to create more white tigers. So any white tiger in the U.S., whether it's here or anywhere else in the U.S., they were bred for the purpose of entertainment and profit through an inbreeding process, which is not a natural process, and it leads these guys to have lots of health issues throughout their lives. So we're going to talk about those in just a couple, habitats from now. We'll learn a little bit more about that, but I will say, just real quick, he's my favorite white tiger here, or at least one of them. So I wish he was a little bit closer for you guys to see. Now, Amari lives in this habitat right here. She is a female lion. I'm pretty sure she's the one that we heard caroling just a minute ago. She came here from California, and that's all I can really tell you about her, because she's in our witness protection program. We got several cats in our witness protection program right now. We do have updates that we post about their progress, though, so you can see pictures of them, see that progress, see which staff members they're kind of taking to a little bit more, and that's all going to be on our Facebook page, Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge on Facebook. This habitat right here is home to Roman. Roman is a white tiger from Colorado. Roman and Dawn are actually used to do alternate access in this habitat here, but we were able to split them up last year and give them their own space, so it's been really, really awesome for them. But he's a great example of some of those health issues a white tiger can suffer from because of how they're created. He's incredibly cross-eyed. Any white tiger you see is going to be some degree of cross-eyed. Some don't look as cross-eyed but still are, like Donner. Others are incredibly cross-eyed, like Roman. His eyes are permanently fixed on the bridge of his nose. The recessive gene that gives them their white fur is linked to a gene that crosses their optic nerves. Their optic nerve actually wires to the opposite side of their brain. Because of how crossed his eyes are, he has horrible depth perception. When he first moved into his habitat, he was bumping into things all over the place. Couldn't really figure out how far away things were from him. He'd bump into his trees, toys, fences, bench, you name it. He's been here long enough, he's mapped it all out. He knows where his trees are, where his fences start and stop, but you can imagine how terrible of a hunter he would be out in the wild. I mentioned before that a tiger's only about 30% successful at most when hunting, and that's when they have perfect vision, so he'd never catch a single thing. He also wouldn't be able to camouflage with his white fur. He'd stick out like a sore thumb to his prey. Some other health issues these white tigers can suffer from are cleft palates, pug noses, crooked teeth, spinal deformities, and all sorts of different types of cancers, and that is just to name a few of them. So they're not going to happen naturally. If you ever see a facility that is breeding white tigers, it is not a facility you're ever going to want to support. We got Opie up on his bench right here. We can see the back of him. He's an orange tiger. He's actually our biggest tiger that we have here. Tigers are normally 300 to 500 pounds. Last time we weighed Opie, he was 495, and he didn't really fit all the way on the scale, so he was probably a bit bigger than that. But he came here from Tiger King Park. We work with the Department of Justice for that rescue. It involves several armored vehicles and SWAT teams. Very, very intense rescue. Brought 10 of those guys back here, like I mentioned before. All of the animals that arrived from Tiger King Park arrived in really horrible condition. They were suffering from what's called fly strike, which is when a fly will eat away at an open wound on these animals. They'll nip away at it. It'll get very infected. Sometimes they'll even lay their eggs in those wounds, which will hatch, meaning there's maggots crawling around in it. They had scars all over their bodies from cages, animals, people. They had calluses on their legs from not having enough room to move around. Some were super underweight, some were super overweight, just all sorts of issues. Once they arrived here, though, they started to heal up, slowly but surely, not only physically, but also mentally, which has been really awesome. You can tell they don't have that fear anymore. They don't ever have to worry about being hurt or handled again. One in particular that has made an incredible difference, is just incredibly different from how he was when he first arrived here, is Bagheera, that black jaguar, if you guys were able to see him. When he first arrived here, he was incredibly aggressive, incredibly stressed and anxious. He was really aggressive towards men and cameras. And if you saw him today, he was super calm. He did not used to be that way. So he's made incredible progress, and even to this day, they continue to get better and better. So we're really grateful to have them here. Opie's neighbor is Miles. Miles is a female orange tiger. She's one of the Indiana 8. She likes to hang out at the top in her night house most of the time because she's super nosy. That's where she gets the best view of everyone. She does come out into her grassy area several times a day, though, normally to make her rounds, spray and mark her territory. These cats can spray up to 10 feet away. They don't do it every time, but they are capable of it. We're far enough away here so that it's not really a big issue if she tries to spray us unless the winds go pretty hard this direction. We have to be a little bit more careful, but she has tried to spray me here a couple times in the last week or so. But she is also what we call a chuffy cat. A chuff is a noise that tigers make to say hello to each other. It kind of means hello, I don't mean any harm. So they'll chuff at each other when they're walking past each other or playing around with each other, but we found they will also chuff at us through the fence, a little bit of a greeting to us. It's a short burst of air repeatedly through their nasal passage, kind of a soft vocalization. I'm going to try and replicate it for you guys so you know what it sounds like. I am not a tiger, it's not going to be perfect, but I am going to try my best. It sounds a little something like... So if you hear something similar to that, that's a tiger saying hello. Most of our white tigers are pretty chuffy, so if any of them are up and walking around, when we get back into that discovery area, keep an ear out for that sound. You might get a little what's up from them. There are 2 cats in the next habitat, Samira and Cairo. They're doing alternate access right now. Actually, our last pair currently doing alternate access. It is Samira's day in the grassy area today, although it looks like she might still be up in her night house. Samira is a female lion. She came here from Tiger King Park. She's our loudest caroler that we have here. She puts her whole body into a super special experience to hear and to see. She does also get everyone else to join in after she finishes her dinner in the evening. So she's always the first one to start that caroling. Sometimes when these cats are caroling on a really cold morning, you can see their breath, and that's super cool when that happens. It's just been way too hot recently for that. And then we got Cairo. He's probably our most unique looking cat that we have here. He's in that left night house, also from Tiger King Park. He's a liger. So his dad was a lion. His mom was a liger, making him 3 parts lion, 1 part tiger. Because of that, he has a little bit of a baby mane going on. He's never going to get a full mane like a full male lion will, but we call it his reverse mullet because it's longer in the front on his chest, shorter in the back on his neck. He also has spots all over his body. Spots, not stripes. Lion cubs are born with spots. They just fade as they get older when they no longer need them to camouflage. His spots never faded though. He retained his spots like a tiger retains their stripes. So it's kind of where his 1 part tiger comes in, even though it doesn't really look like it. He also almost always has his tongue sticking out, so that does add to his goofy, adorable look. If you check out the purple binder that I mentioned, it's in the back of the gift shop. Flip through that, find Cairo's picture. You'll see his baby mane, his spots, and his tongue, so you can see what he looks like. As interesting as he looks, it's important to remember he shouldn't actually exist since he is a big cat hybrid, let alone a 2nd generation big cat hybrid. Because he was, created through exploitation and for exploitation, he's probably going to suffer from several health issues throughout his life, but whatever does come up, our vet is here to help him out. He's only 7 years old now, still doing really well, so he's got some good years on him. But he's pretty unique looking, so definitely check out his picture, whether it's on a magnet or postcard or in that purple binder. This is going to be the last group of cats that we talk about here, Rosie, Jinx, and Dodge. 3 orange tigers, all siblings. They've got this bigger habitat right here that they can walk around in. And then the next one over is a little bit smaller, but it's connected through a tunnel, so they can choose to be in whichever side they would like. They do like to hang out in the bottom corners of their habitats behind some river canes, so it might be kind of harder to see them. There is one up there underneath the bench, though, that we'll hopefully see a little bit better in just a second. Now these 3 were a little bit of a surprise to us. We originally thought we were only bringing 10 animals back here from Tiger King Park, but it quickly turned into 13 because their mom Priscilla was pregnant when she arrived. We've got one of them that we can see right here once we hit that gap between the habitats. And then you can see the other one through the river cane to the left of them. The third is going to be up underneath the bench in just a second. So these guys, having cubs was a new thing for us. We're a non-breeding facility, so we don't often have cubs here. They also had club feet, so their legs were twisted and oriented in the wrong position. So we had to come up with a treatment plan for these guys. What we had to do was physical therapy 2 times a day for 4 months, and it was a race against the clock because they get very dangerous very quickly. We had to make an exception to our hands-off rule for these guys specifically because they were so small and they wouldn't have the quality of life they needed to be here today if we didn't do that for him. So after warm water massages, stretches, putting splints on their legs, walking their legs for them, you'd never know they had that issue to begin with. They made really, really incredible recoveries. We do have a documentary going through what it took to get these guys where they are today. It's called Uncharted. It's available for free download on our online gift shop. So you can go to turpentincreek.org, click on our shop tab, type in Uncharted, only about 30 minutes long. And it is free for you guys, like I said. So definitely an interesting watch. And this habitat right here is actually the habitat they were born in when they surprised us. So They were in this habitat with their mom Priscilla. She has since passed away, but we do have a little memorial stone in their pool. It says Priscilla the best mom, and you can kind of see that from behind Selbit's habitat if you want to go check that out. But I'm just going to point out that tiger underneath the bench right there. You can also stand behind Selbit's habitat and look down the hill into this bottom corner here, get a better look at those two tigers down there. Now we're going to go ahead and make our way up this hill. I've got a couple replicas to show you guys while we do so. They're just made of plastic, but they are true to size. This right here is a replica tiger tooth, the canine tooth. You can imagine how easily they can incapacitate their prey with teeth like this. They can bite down onto the neck and hold onto it. These teeth also have pressure sensing nerves running through them, so they can feel a heartbeat of their prey while they're biting down. They use these nerves to determine where on the neck to bite down that will be most lethal. A really, really great tool for these cats, you guys, and an awesome reason you would never want to be in a habitat with them. I've also got a replica tiger claw right here, which you can picture in comparison to a house cat claw. A house cat claw is significantly smaller, so hurts pretty bad to be scratched by in my experience. So I can only imagine what it would feel like to put the claw this size, especially with the amount of force and strength that a tiger has. So just a reminder that these animals are predators, not pets. We're going to go around the gift shop here. It's going to get a little bit funky, so I do apologize for that. We'll see if we can spot Kiara from the back side of her habitat, and then we'll end up right back where we started. Looks like Kiara might be in her den at the moment. Thank you guys for visiting today. Being a nonprofit, we can't do what we do without your support. Any money spent here goes directly back into caring for these animals. Use those admission tickets, so we really do appreciate it. You're welcome to walk around that discovery area as long as you would like. You can ask me or anyone else with a paw print on their back any questions you might have. We'd be more than happy to try and answer those for you guys. I'll let you guys get your own chains, but I will get that gate for you. You guys have a great rest of your day. Try and stay cool.
We're a more private habitat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
After something happens to her.
Yeah, no, she's doing just fine.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Who that girl
This
then?
one is Aurora. She's a white tiger.
Uh-huh. What about that?
Oh, this one is Kiara.
Kiara?
Kiara now,
Okay.
yeah. They kind of just swap places.
Oh, good. So, but she's healthy then?
Yeah, she's
not.
very healthy,
Okay,
yeah.
got you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
She's still with the other liger?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Lakota's probably in his den.
Oh,
We only moved Kiara a few weeks ago up here, so
Uh-huh.
she's still kind of trying to see her and very curious about what's going on over there. That
oh,
Fergie's no longer
okay.
there.
That's why she's looking over
Yeah.
there.
She knows the different tigers in that one.
right. It's kind of crazy how animal they see, they know something wrong, you
Yeah.
know? It's so unique.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is the difference between like a no contact and the contact facility? Or is it just ideally nobody should be a contact facility?
I would say that like if you kind of look at like AZA kind of standards, like you'll notice that like there is still a little bit of contacts at some zoos, like they'll use it for medical reasons
Yeah,
and stuff.
makes sense.
But some sanctuaries will be complete contact, and I wouldn't consider those true sanctuaries. They'll often have people like even swimming with tigers or
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
petting them, kind of being in their habitat with them.
Yeah.
And the no contact here means that we're not hands-on as interns, so we're not
Yeah,
touching
yeah.
them. Like even if they seem pretty friendly or rubbing against the fence, we're not reaching our hands in at all. The only time we'd ever touch them is if they're fully sedated.
For sure.
Yeah.
and for medical reasons, or to help move
Absolutely,
them,
yeah.
that kind of thing.
I just wondered if there was like I mean, do those places have to have like less animals or like you know
Like-
what I'm saying?
like,
if they
uh,
were a contact facility?
I would say so. I would say
Right.
it'd be a lot harder to have animals like this. But a lot of times contact facilities will also do things to animals to make sure they're contact, like call them, unfortunately. And a lot of contact facilities will use cubs specifically.
Yeah.
Now that's pretty much kind of not happening in this country anymore because it is illegal. But some crazy stuff out there.
My second question that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the cubs that are like born into like a human environment, do they ever like miss that human interaction
I would,
once they get here?
I would say so, yeah.
Okay.
Some of them, like, you could definitely tell they want, like, the attention of
Yeah.
people. Especially, like, not even, like, the big guys, but we also have small cats as well. Cats that even came from homes that, you know, gave them toys and allowed them to roam in the house and stuff like that. But eventually they kind of settle in.
They settle in and get used to it. Okay.
And a lot of times they come in pretty young, and so when they get more mature, that's when the, like,
Got
more
you.
wild side comes out.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
But yeah, I think some of them do really miss it. And I think now, like, the ones that have been here for years and stuff, like, if you were to try to do contact or anything with that, they would be kind of spooked.
Yeah, I'm sure. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I love it here.
I
Yeah.
want to ask you one more question. I seen it like 2 weeks ago. I saw the news in the Missouri state, and they had a sanctuary. One of them shut down.
Yeah.
So they say it's over there. You know, animal they rescued by state of Arkansas somewhere.
Yeah.
Do y'all rescue from in Missouri sanctuary?
Yeah, I believe there is the Crown Ridge is another one of our sanctuaries, I believe was in Missouri, is closing down, and we just posted that we're going to be taking a couple of their tigers. So yeah, we do rescue from other sanctuaries that are closing down.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in future you're gonna get more in then?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna rescue from down there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we have that rescue coming up. I believe our Facebook page have posted a rescue from Canada and the Honduras as well. So we're getting a few cats, I believe, in the next
So
few
in
months.
Honduras sanctuary shutting down too?
Yes.
Oh my! In Canada?
I actually don't know if the Canada one is a sanctuary or not.
Okay.
yeah.
So those animals gonna be eventually be here.
Yes.
Then you're gonna have make more habitat in future.
Yeah, I don't know if there's plans to actually build more, but we have a few empty ones that we're gonna be placing some cats in.
Okay. So next time when we come here, we able to see them.
Hopefully, I know we've moved some cats around. We have a couple more bobcats down there, but I don't know if any of those cats are gonna be going up here.
Oh.
Maybe around. There might be some going around the loop, but we do have some in private sections as well open.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I saw the news and they said they're, Arkansas rescuing, those cats down there in Missouri
Yeah.
sanctuary. So that's why I was thinking, Arkansas, this is the one. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's very interesting. We're
And
getting a lot of cats. We have over 100 cats now.
Uh-huh.
I've been an intern since last August,
Uh-huh.
and we've rescued probably 20 cats in the year we've been here. So it's been quite the year.
Okay. And I really want to make an appointment for the going to in the back of it,
Yeah.
You got to ride a bus to get it in.
Uh-huh.
And I really want to do that one day. I will.
It's very. I highly recommend during the fall too. A lot of the cats are a lot more active.
Active. Uh-huh.
Yeah. When
Okay.
It's not so hot.
Uh-huh.
Spring too.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. You have a good one.
You too. Where she go? Where she go? She go in? Oh, she's sleepy. She's sleepy. beautiful. Bam is sleepy.
అదే అక్కడ నుంచి తొంగి చూస్తాయని చెప్పాడు కదా.
లెగ్స్ రావచ్చు కదా. ఇది చాలా పెద్దగా ఉన్నాయి, బెంగాల్ టైగర్స్లా ఉన్నాయి.
ఇటీ మూడు ఉన్నాయి,
రెండే ఉన్నాయి.
మూడు. ఇదిగో ఇక్కడ చూడు, ఒక బాడీ, సెకండ్ బాడీ మధ్యలో థర్డ్ బాడీ.
మూడు
మూడు.
నిజమే, బెంగాల్ టైగర్స్ లాగా ఉన్నారు పెద్ద పెద్దగా. సరే రన్నింగ్ బాల్
అచ్చా
అంటే ఎలా కూడా సరే
많다. 우. 와, 어마어마하게 커. 아이고 이뻐. Bam Bam sleep a long hour.
He's thinking about coming out.
Uh-huh. I see.